Hi all, in this video we're going to look at the DCG Ordinary Level 2018 Section B question 2. So this is an interpenetration question. So let's get started. So for this question, again, as we can see from the question, we've got a pillar. Okay, so it's some type of children's playground climbing frame. So we've got a pillar coming up that's represented in red in the question, and then we've got these pegs that are represented in blue in the question coming through it. So we're going to actually start with a red pillar. If we look in plan, we can see the outline of that in plan, okay, and we can see that it's an angle of 45 degrees. So that's where I'm going to get started in this. So I'm going to come up here at 45 degrees. I'm keeping this towards the left hand side of the sheet. I'm going to draw, it asks for an end view as part C, and I'm going to draw that over on the right. While it gives me a little bit of an end view on the left already in the question, I'm just going to use that for measurements. I'm not actually going to use that for my end view. Okay, so once I can start the plan again, I've come up at 45 degrees. I can see the different widths or the different sizes of this rectangle. So we've got 70 and we've got 100. So I'm going to mark off those. Okay, draw light lines up, and this is going to produce the plan of this shape. So again, once I've that done, I'm going to go ahead and draw this in blue. We can see the whole outline of it. Again, you don't need to put color on this, but I just find the color and labeling stuff does make things an awful lot easier than later on. Okay, becomes far easier to see it and visualize it. So that's all of those, and again, I'm going to go ahead and label them. So I'm going to call that corner A, B, C, D. Okay, it's just easier to know what corners we're talking about. I'm now going to go and draw an XY line. So I'm going to draw it across the middle of the sheet. Okay, so this is my ground line. I know I'm going to need an end view up here later on, and I'm going to draw an elevation here. So the first thing I'm going to do is draw an elevation of this rectangular unit that I have. So I'm going to bring up each corner. Again, they're straight up. Why? Whatever width it is in elevation, it's the same width in plan. Okay, so that's what we learned from our orthographic questions. So we're keeping the same rules because this is an elevation and plan, and orthographic is what we're looking at. If we look from our question now, we can see we have a height of this pillar unit is 100 high. So I'm going to mark off 100, and I'm going to draw a light line all the way across. Again, why? Because from our orthographic, whatever height it is in elevation, it's going to be the same height in our end view. Once we've that done, we can see that there's two other height measurements. I'm just going to leave the blue pillar. I know the base, I suppose, and I can know where the height is. So just in case, maybe we should do this bit first, just make it a bit clear. And again, I suppose we can go ahead and label that there as AA, BB, DD, and CC, just so we know the lines and the corners we're working from. But as I was saying, if we look closely, we can see that there's two heights for the, I suppose, rail that comes through the center of this. Okay, and we can see those two heights are of 20 and 50. So I'm actually going to mark those off. So there's my 20 and an extra 50. Okay, so I'm doing a continuous measurement there, make it more accurate. And again, I'm drawing these lightly all the way across. Okay, we're going to need these in our end view at a later stage. Now, once I've that done, I can see that there's two other width measurements in my elevation. Okay, I can see the two 30s. So there's a 30 from the left and a 30 from the right. And that indicates how far from this side, or from this pillar, from the sides of this pillar, is the climbing rails. So we're going to mark off 30 to the left and 30 to the right. Okay, and again, I'm going to draw those lightly all the way down because of our rules. Whatever width it is in elevation, it's the same width in plan. So that's them coming all the way down. Once we've that done, we can actually go ahead and nearly draw in most of this elevation. We now know where these edges, where edge A and B will start and stop. So I'm going to draw those down. They're going to go down to this little rail. Okay. We can see B is at the back, so it's going to be dotted, and we can see that from the question, it's dotted all the way through. Okay, so it's not being cut through by this unit. D, likewise with that, that's not being affected, and it's to the front, so it's a heavy line all the way down. And C again is just going until that rail cuts through it. Once we've that done, we can go ahead now and draw in the rail itself. So I'm just going to draw the both edges, and again we can draw the bottom. Now I don't know exactly where this rail is going to stop, okay, so I'm not going to actually bring it into this unit itself. Okay, so you'll see that here I've stopped just shy of it, okay, and that's just because we don't know how far in these edges are going to go. Okay, we have to find that out. We're going to find that information out in our plan. So when we look at our plan, then we've got our outline of the pole, but we need to find out where this rail goes through. Now, if we look here closely at the question, we can see that we're given an end view, but it's just of the rail, and it's shown us the shape of this rail, and it's given us some measurements. We can see the measurement here of 20. Now, that depth measurement there of 20 in the end view is related to the measurement of the distance in plan, as I've indicated here on the right of the plan. It's the exact same if we look at the measurement in the bottom, which is 50. That is indicated there in plan also. So the object that we see in our end view is the object that we see in plan. And the critical point, if we look closely at our question here, we can see that the top right hand corner of our end view is the exact corner that's going to cut through our point C in the question. How do I know that? Well, I know because from our end views, we know that we're going to be bringing the plan up at 45 degrees and it'll go straight up, which means the back edges in plan will appear as the right hand side edges in our end view. So with that knowledge, when we look at our question here, we know that the top right hand corner of our end view is cutting through our corner C. So I know that this line that coming through here, that comes through C, is a critical line. Okay. Now, from our drawing, we can see that the first measurement is this measurement of 20, and we're told to come down from that. So I need to mark that off in my question here. I need to come down 20 from point C. That's giving me the second edge. And again, I can draw that across. So that allows me actually to draw the top of this rail. So I can see it comes in from C. Okay, we saw that in the question. I measured down 20 to give me the other top edge. Okay. So once we've got those, we can see from our question here now that the next measurement is a 50 measurement. Okay. And again, that's related back down to our plan. So we know that we have to come out 50 here. Okay, the top was 20 and the next one is 50. Well, if the bottom has to be 50 and this is 20, well, 50 minus 20 is 30. So that means I have to measure out 15 both sides. Okay, so half of 30. So again, that's 15 and 15. And just to double check, we can put our set square down. We can see the whole measurement is indeed 50. Okay. So again, I'm going to draw those lightly across. That's the bottom two edges. So I didn't need to draw this end view up here in up here on the left hand side that I was given in the question. It was just giving us that to help us with the measurements. Now we could have used it, but there wasn't a huge need to do so. Just right now anyways. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead now and draw in the plan. Okay, so I can see the edges of this. And again, we can bring the bottom edges all the way in where it enters the piece and where it's exiting this polar pillar, if you will. Okay, so where it enters and where it exits. So once we've that done, we've nearly got the elevation and plan fully done. The plan is fully complete, but we can see we still don't know where these edges are stopping in our elevation. So that's our next job. So to do that, we're going to need to label these points in plan just so that we know which ones we're talking about. So I'm going to name the back edge point 1, the next one point 2, the next top one point 3, and the very front one at the bottom point 4. So when we look up now in our elevation, okay, we have to be able to see that 1 and 4 are at the bottom. Okay, we know that because we can visualize that from our end view. If we're looking in here, Okay, so what are we going to see? Well, we're going to see point 4 first. So 4 is to the front, 1 is to the back. Just like here, we see 3 first and 2 is in at the back. It's the exact same on the opposite side. The numbers are the exact same. By labeling it this way, folks, it just means that we can now clearly see what is intersecting what, and it'll make life a lot easier. Once we've that done, we're ready to go ahead and find out, well, where are these lines entering and exiting the piece. So I'm going to start at the very back, and we're going to find point 1 here on the left hand side. These are the entering points, so where it enters and where it exits the piece. So point 1, the entrance point of point 1, I can see it's right here. Okay, so I'm going to put a 1 beside that. Okay, so it's on the surface AD, find point 1, and I'm going to draw a light line up. Okay. Where's 1 in elevation? Well, it's here, it's this point, just behind point 4. So it's going to come across where that intersects my 1 coming up is giving me where 1 enters the piece. I'm going to do the exact same with all the other points. There's point 2. Okay, that's at the top, at the back. So I'm going to bring that all the way up. There's 2, it's at the top of the back. Come across, coming up where they intersect gives me point 2. Next one is point 3 at the front. Okay, this is where it enters, so I'm bringing it all the way up, light line up, 3 coming across, that gives me point 3. And last but not least, on the entering points, I have point 4. Okay, they're all still on the surface AD, so I can see that all that surface on the front. I'm going to bring that all the way up. Here's 4 to the front and the bottom, where they intersect gives me point 4. So now we've got all the points clearly marked. Okay, so that makes life easier. We have to extend the edges into these points. So I need, just like I have here, 4 at the outside to hit 4 where it enters the point. So we can do that. 4 at the outside where 4 enters the piece. 3 at the outside where 3 enters the piece. Okay. 2 at the outside where 2 enters the piece. It's already marked, it's directly behind the 3. And 1 at the outside where 1 enters the piece. It's already marked, it's directly behind the line 4. Brilliant. Now we've that done. That's the first job. The next job is to start at the front and look about where it's connected to what. So obviously 4 is connected to 4, that was fine, but 4 is also connected to 3. So we need to join that up. So there's 4 going to 3. 3 is connected to 2, that's already covered. And 2 is connected to 1. But do I see that? No. Because again, we're looking in from this side. What do I see? I'm going to see this surface, okay? 4, 4, 3, 3. So that's going to be at the front. Therefore, this has to be at the back, so it's a dotted line. It's hidden behind that other view. Okay, so that's where this rail enters. We've now got to do the exact same thing on this side where we see the rail exiting. So again, let's start at the front here. There's point 4. So we need to bring this up. So let's bring 4 all the way up. Okay, there's 4 coming up, 4 coming across. Where they intersect gives me point 4. Okay. What did we do? Well, we know 4 is connected to 4 on the outside. Okay, so we can do it either way around. Find all the points or find one point and connect it back at a time. Makes no difference. Next one is point 3. Okay, so let's bring that up. So we bring it all the way up. There's 3 in elevation. Bring it across. Where 3 hits 3, that gives me point 3. Again, let's bring 3 to 3. Let's join them back. Okay, so 3 on the outside, hit 3 on the inside here. 3 on the outside, hitting 3 on the inside, where it's exiting there. Once we've that done, we need to find the next one. There's point 2. It's right on the corner of points of the edge of this, at edge C, at point C. So again, bring it straight up, bring it straight in, and it's right here. That is point 2. Last one is point 1. Now this is at the back. We can see it's at the back edge. It's on the edge CD now, and we can, sorry, CB, and we can see CB is the dotted edge. It's at the back here. It's hidden by CD at the front. So we already know that's going to be at the back. So I'm going to bring point 1 up. Okay. Bring point 1 across. Bring it up where they collide. Gives me point 1. Once you've that done, we need to find out, we've already joined these back. 1 is connected to 1, but it's hidden behind 4 being connected to 4, the exact same 2 connected to 2 here is hidden behind 3 connected to 3, okay? But what else happens? The exact same here. 3 is also connected to 4, so there's 3 to 4. 3 is connected to 2, that's already covered, it's hidden by that line. 2 is connected down to 1, but we know it's at the back, so again this is going to appear as a dotted edge, and 1 gets connected back into 1. At that stage then, that is your elevation and plan of the question fully complete with the interpenetration in place also. So our next job then is to do part C of the question, or sorry, part B of the question, when it asks you to draw an end view of it. So again, as I said, we were given part of an end view of the rail coming through here earlier on, but just to show you how to draw the full end view, we're going to look at that over there. I use this end view just to work out the measurements of our plan, which we would have to do anyways. So what I'm going to do is, I started off with this blue pillar here. We drew it in plan, we drew it in elevation. So I'm going to draw that in end view first. So this is the edge of my plan, the very outside edge. So I'm going to bring all my points over to that outside edge. Okay, and I'm going to just label them here also, just so I see them. So there's D, okay. C is on the line, on the same point as 2. There's A and D. Or B. Again, you don't need to do this, some of you will be able, but there's so many points here, we just don't want to mix them up. So I just find it's easier to be sure. So I'm going to bring D straight up 45 degrees, point C straight up at 45 degrees, A and B. So this should be easy. It's again very simple, probably a junior cert question that you probably did way back in first year. Drawing an elevation plan in view of a square base prism here. Okay, again, once we've those done, we can label those. So that's why I label them here on the edge, because now it's easier. So that means that's point B. Follow this up, there's A. Follow this up, there's C. And follow this up, there's D. Again, we know that those points are going to be at the top as well, so we can label those and D. Now, what goes heavy, what goes light? That's the big question. Well, think about it. We're now standing over here and we're looking in from this side. So what will I see? Well, I see A, I see B, I see D, but point C is hidden. It's directly behind A, B, C. So this one is going to be the dotted edge, okay? So I'm going to go ahead and draw that in first. Is it going to go dotted the whole way up? Well, no, because we can see that the unit A, or the rail, is going to come through. So I'm going to stop it here. Why? That's where the rail is coming through here. Okay, we can see that from our elevation. Point A, I can see that. Does it get affected by this piece coming through? No. So A is going to be a heavy line all the way down. Okay, that's to the front. B, okay, which was the back of the plan, but when I look in here from the side, can I see it? Yes. Is it being affected by this unit here in the middle? No. So that again can be a heavy line all the way in. Just as point D, which is at the front here in plan, when I look in here, I can see it. Yes, it's not being affected by the red rail coming through, so that can be a heavy line coming all the way up. I can see the bottom of this piece and I can see the top. How do I know that? Because that's exactly what I see over here in my elevation as well. So we're using all the views to help us draw this in. When we've that done, the next job for us to do is to see the rail here and see that up here in our end view. So again, I'm going to pick one point at a time. There's point 1. Going to bring that up. Again, now that I've so many points, I'm going to just label that there. So I'm just labeling them on the ground. C, or sorry, point 2 is the same point as point C, so that's that one there. There's point 3 coming up at 45 degrees. I know that 2 and 3, I know none of these are on this bottom line, but it's just so I don't have to keep going back trying to figure out what point is what. I find just giving these a quick label and making sure I know what's what makes life easier. I'm going to bring those straight up. So there's point 1 going up, point 2, which is on the line C, point 3, and point 4. Okay, so they're all now coming straight up. The four edges, 1, 2, 3, and 4. Now all I need to do is find out where are they. Well, I can see that from my elevation. Well, there's point 1 and 4. So bring that across. Well, there's point 1. Bring it across, and there's point 4. There's point 2 and 3. So bring it across. There's point 2. How do I know? Because that was 2 coming up. And here's point 3 because that was my line 3 there. Once I've that done, I can see the whole unit then. So there's 1 to 4 on the bottom, 2 to 3 on the top. And I can join that down. So 2 down to 1 and 3 down to 4. So once you've that done, that is the question basically fully complete. So we've got our elevation. We've got our plan. And then part B where we were asked for end view. Okay. So what we're going to do now is spend a few minutes shading and coloring in this image. So that is the DCG Ordinary Level 2018 Section B Question 2 Interpenetration question fully complete. Hopefully this video helps you with your homework and revision of this question. Good luck.